You're on a plane. It's been a long flight. Maybe a little turbulence, maybe not. You feel the wheels hit the ground. A short pause. Then someone claps. A few others join. And suddenly, a ripple of applause spreads through the cabin. It doesn't happen every time. And when it does, it can feel awkward. Why are people clapping? Is it because they think landing is hard? Are they genuinely thankful? Or is it something deeper? Clapping after a flight is one of those odd, semi-global behaviors that has no official purpose. No one tells you to do it. It's not encouraged by airlines. Pilots don't expect it. But in some flights, especially to popular tourist destinations, you hear it over and over again. So what's going on? At the core, clapping is emotional relief. Flying can be stressful. You're suspended 35,000 feet in the air in a metal tube. For some people, every flight feels like a small miracle. When it ends safely, clapping is the body's way of saying, "We made it." But it's not just about emotions. It's also social behavior. One person starts clapping. Others feel pressure to join. It becomes a group response, like laughing at a joke in a crowd, even if you didn't find it funny. What's interesting is that this phenomenon varies wildly around the world. In the US, it's relatively rare. You might hear it on vacation flights, but not on business routes. On flights to places like Hawaii, the Caribbean, or Las Vegas, clapping is more common. But on New York to Chicago, almost never. In Latin America, clapping is seen more often, part celebration, part respect. In Eastern Europe, it's a tradition on many charter flights. But in Japan, clapping would be considered strange or even rude. Every culture has its own threshold for public expression of emotion. And airplanes, interestingly, are one of the few places where these worlds collide. Historically, there's also a reason clapping may have made sense. In earlier decades, especially the 70s and 80s, commercial aviation was less automated. Landings were more manual, navigation was less precise, and airports were smaller and more chaotic. A safe landing was something to be grateful for, and a round of applause was almost like a salute to the skill of the crew. Today, flying is much safer. Landing is routine. Pilots land planes thousands of times in their careers. So do they appreciate the clapping? It depends. Some pilots say they find it touching, especially on long hauls or rough landings. Others admit they can't even hear it from the cockpit and only find out later. And some roll their eyes, calling it outdated or unnecessary. There's also the idea of cultural carryover. As global travel has increased, so have behaviors that cross borders. A tourist from one country might clap simply because that's what people do back home. Another person joins in and suddenly the whole cabin is clapping. Not because they know why, just because it feels right in the moment. Interestingly, the trend might be fading. Younger generations fly more often. Flying feels less like an adventure and more like a bus ride in the sky. Clapping is seen by some as embarrassing or childish. But just as quickly, it could come back. All it takes is one nervous flyer, one happy crowd, one smooth landing, and suddenly the cabin bursts into applause again. So next time you're on a flight and you hear clapping, remember this. It's not about the performance. It's not even about the pilot. It's about relief. It's about emotion. And sometimes it's just about being human in a shared suspended space between sky and earth. Clapping might be irrational. But then again, so is flying.